Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Marvel's Jessica Jones Season 2, I was going to say 1 there, Season 2, Episode 1, it's called AKA Start at the Beginning. I'd forgotten all the titles started with AKA.
So did I.
Until I looked at the list and went, oh shit, they're all, yeah, I remember this from last season now.
Mm.
But yeah, so Season 2 premiere, Season 2's hitting on a Thursday, because it's International Women's Day. Which is why it's a Thursday and not a Friday. We were confused when they announced the date. We didn't understand why it was a Thursday and not a Friday. And then people in the comments pointed out what the day was. So that is why. But hey, so we really like season 1 of Jessica Jones.
Yes, it's my favourite of all the seasons up till now.
Probably my favourite of all the seasons up till now. As to say that it's flawless, because it's not.
No, it has some problems, especially in the last third.
Yeah, there's an entire character who became
Shouldn't
garbage.
be there, yeah.
Yeah. Pill guy.
Yep.
Whatever his name ended up being, I can't remember.
It's been a long time since season 1.
Yeah. Do you know what it has been? Because it was November 2016. Oh, sorry, November 2015. And now it's, March 2018. So it's been over 2 years. It's been 2.5 years since season 1.
It's insane.
Big gap. So it's been a while. Jessica was probably my favourite part of Defenders, which was a pretty weak season overall, but the characters were mostly enjoyable, and that was kind of the highlight.
Barring one of the four.
Barring one of the four. So full spoilers for this premiere, of course. So the intention is to do this roughly once per day, time permitting, but that should, we should hopefully stick to that. Saturday's the one that will probably not happen, but because Saturdays are really busy for us. But other than that, we should be okay. But yeah, so episode 1. Where to begin? Well, I guess actually given that we like season 1 a lot, given that the last 3 Marvel shows, 3.5, I guess technically, have been weak to rough to downright terrible. I guess my first question would be, after episode 1, how do you feel about season 2 so far?
I thought it was a pretty solid episode. It wasn't anything flashy or exciting. It was very much they're aware it's been 2.5 years, and it's kind of just reminding you of all the side characters for the most part, and where everyone is, which makes sense. It's slow, but not in a bad way.
I don't know if I can agree with that last part.
Okay.
The not in a bad way part. I don't know if I can agree with it. Here's the thing. On the build up to this, I was worried that the pacing was going to be a problem, because the pacing in all these Marvel shows has been very, very slow. Right,
yeah.
To a fault, and I was speculating as to, is it actually getting worse, or is this an accumulative effect where, because the more I'm seeing of them, the more it's bothering me, and therefore now it's not that it's any worse than season 1. I'd have to go back and rewatch season 1 to really see that, but is it just a case of now I'm feeling this immediately? I'm feeling the pace of the scenes and the way it's sort of, and there's parts of this episode I liked. I do think overall, though, I was feeling damn, this could have been easily 15-20 minutes shorter and had the exact same amount of information and story detail.
Okay. See, I see. This is something I think I might feel over the season. It's often how much plot do I get in an episode rather than individual scenes, especially with this show, where the first season in particular I thought was, again, slow, but slow is not necessarily the word I'd use, but more methodical. And I think that's a more neutral word than slow.
Methodical's fine. Methodical implies that it's taking its time and doing everything with precision.
Yeah, and see, that's mostly how I felt about this episode. Everything that was there, I was quite happy with. I don't think there was much advancement in terms of plot, but like I say, it's mostly reminding you of, okay, who everyone is, where everyone's at in their lives, and that's okay for a first episode.
Yeah, I'm not as positive on this first one. I'm thoroughly in the middling territory for me. There's a couple of things I outright dislike.
Okay.
One character's plot in particular, and then the hints of a character returning from season 1 made me groan with a passion.
I'm not saying it's perfect.
As soon as the camera pulled back in that one scene, there was someone with a hoodie. I'm like, oh god, this better not be him. And then later on, Trish gets a glimpse of someone with a hoodie through the doors, the revolving doors, and I'm like, oh no, it's him! It's him! It's Simpson! It's Will!
I will not defend that.
Oh god, I really did not like that at all. And it's, to be honest, it's not necessarily that those moments in and of themselves are that bad. It's because season 1 was, made me detest him so much as a character.
Yeah.
The mere thought of him. It's the same actually. At one point, Hogarth brings up Rand. She says, "Oh, I brought Rand in," and I'm like, "Oh, don't mention Rand."
I know. You just lowered my enthusiasm by about 3 points.
Don't do it. But Hogarth's actually another problem I've got with this first episode. Her plot was feeling like an Iron Fist subplot to me.
Okay.
Where it felt like it didn't really have much to do with anything right now. Which is not actually a bad thing. Lots of subplots like don't tie in until later. That's not unusual. Yeah. But the amount of time it was taking, the dry dialogue, maybe it's just the fact that it was like lawyers and business people having conversations.
I think it might be, yeah. I don't think it's any drier than anything else with lawyers. But
the scene that really set me off though, right, was later on. So we see she's with the other lawyers and she's getting an award, but they're in a bit of a tiff because the girlfriend, the secretary she was banging, is kind of suing them, and I did that whole thing where she's making this big speech about powerful women, but then she gets off the stage and she's kind of hypocritical because she's kind of doing what every asshole powerful man's done in their position, where she's trying to like sweep things under the rug. So okay, they're doing a thing there, right? I appreciate what they're trying to do there. I don't know if at this point it's engaging or bad yet. It's just kind of there.
It's just there, yeah.
Yeah. The scene I actively disliked, though, was when she goes to the hospital later on. She's got a doctor's appointment. And she thinks she's okay. Oh, it's just a cramp or something. It's just some pains. It's like, no, it's not just that. The doctor shuts the door. And they do this scene. We've seen this done before in other things where you're looking through the window, you don't hear anything, and you just see the reaction. That is a fantastic technique which can be used to create fantastic, like, really emotive, and it makes you feel kind of detached, and it makes you feel the humanity of it without the words clogging it up. It's great. Here they completely ruined it by over-editing the entire thing, so it was lots of these big, quickie close-up, like, cut-ins and, like, shaking camera, and I'm like, no. Anytime I've ever seen this done where it's effective...
They just pull back
Just pull back, yeah. Pull back slowly or whatever.
That scene was not great.
It was like the emotional, the cheesy like piano music was playing, and the camera was up in her face, like cutting around to different shots, and I'm like, this is overdone. And like the rest of the show is so laid back with its direction to a fault probably, and then this one scene is the one where they go no, and with the cuts.
Like I said, it's not a perfect episode, but I think I'll defend the other scenes with her because I think as much as she was in that other show that we didn't like, she was a core part of season 1, so again, catching up with her in general...
That's not why I'm complaining about her. I just think the plot so far has either been uninteresting or, in the case of the Doctor's scene, outright bad.
No, I agree with the Doctor one. The other ones, I'm okay with. I like what they're setting up, at least. I don't think they're anything great right now, but I like it as a premise.
I think a thing, and that's the thing though, I think in season 1, if you were going to say, okay, after Will, what was the next worst thing? It probably would have been the whole lawyer part of it. Like, there was a whole lot of it, because maybe you'd have misremembered this, but there's a whole lot of screen time in season 1 devoted to her relationship and cheating on her wife, and it didn't seem too bad at the time, although thinking about it now, it feels like they did spend a lot of time on it, and I'm wondering, like, okay, so she wasn't necessarily terrible in season 1, but she was definitely not the fun stuff. The good stuff was Jessica, it was Kilgrave, and for the most part Trish, although when she was interacting with Pill Guy, it was not so much.
Yeah.
So that, so I don't know. So far, I'm not feeling a plot.
No, like I said, I don't think it's anything special, but I think it's a fine premise as of right now.
I think that's partly why that felt like it was dragging down the pacing. Some other stuff, like I like Trish. I like her doing the song at the birthday party for the gay couple. I mean, they're saying it's for the kids, but it's not. It's for them.
Yeah.
That was amusing, and she's doing that to get Jessica's file from when she was in the car accident. And she's there into that. Less so though is like her manager coming down and talking about ratings, and it seems like that where I don't have a problem with the point the scene's making. The scene can make that point, but it takes like 5 minutes to make the point when they could do it in about 20 seconds.
You could, but I mean, in that one in particular, I was enjoying the dialogue well enough. Again, I think this is a case of I'm enjoying catching up with the characters. Like Trish was in Defenders, but barely.
I think that's why I kind of feel like I don't really need catching up with a lot of them, though, because we had them in Defenders.
Yeah, but I don't think she even got like a proper scene of her own really in that show, like barely.
Well, no, not on her own. She had scenes with Jessica, but yeah.
Right, exactly. So this is where's she in her career? You know, what's she doing? Because that was a big part of the first season. So again, this is establishing that for where we are going forward.
Again, ideas are all fine. It could be getting them across in much more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Concise.
Concise. There you go. It could be concise. It doesn't have to be as drawn out as this. And this is the big problem, is it feels like people are standing around talking for a long time, essentially saying nothing until they get to the point, or essentially just making the same point throughout the entire scene. And then you get to the end, and it's it's just kind of the same thing that Punisher had some of that problem. And, a lot of the Marvel Netflix stuff have that. That just happens to be the last one that I remember more than any others because it happened.
Yeah.
But so yeah, scenes like that were kind of bugging me.
Oh, that's fair. I think to go to the Punisher comparison, I think I feel very similar about this first episode as I do to that first episode, where I like that first episode well enough.
Yeah,
again,
that's true.
And it wasn't until the middle of the season, well, I mean, it was a bit quicker than that, but where we were like, okay, nothing's really happening now. Now it's too slow. In the first episode, I think this is an appropriate speed for me.
I don't, and it's not even. It's the pace of the scenes themselves. It's not necessarily the pace of the plot overall. I didn't need the plot itself to advance anymore. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think the amount of actual, like, Jessica getting to the point where she realizes that everything's going on is connected to what made her the way she is at the end. That's the place to end the first episode. I agree with that completely. I think the episode could be shorter though, and I feel like some of the scenes themselves just feel like they're dragging on for far too long. And this is even the longest episode of the show. This is only 53 minutes. This is shorter compared to some of them.
I haven't looked at how long the rest are.
I've not looked at the rest of the season. I just mean the Marvel and Netflix shows in general. Some of them, were hitting the full hour and stuff. Like, so this is even in the longer side. But I feeling it. What I was liking though, I was liking Jessica. I liked her whole thing near the start where she catches the pizza delivery guy and his boss / girlfriend.
It's a complicated relationship.
I was like, I mean, they must be in a couple because she's upset about the cheating, but yeah, and they're setting up this whole thing where people keep thinking Jessica's willing to kill, and she isn't willing to kill, but they've heard rumours about that British guy you might have killed, like reference to Kilgrave, and it's about her kind of fighting that, and she hates being called a vigilante superhero, and everyone keeps calling her a vigilante superhero.
In that sense, I do really appreciate how it feels like it's dealing with the void of Kilgrave. In that sense, it's very much, okay, what's after that? That's how the tone of this episode.
Yeah, and I also think using season 2 to then explore why she does have the powers and what she actually wants to be as a person actually is the right things they should be exploring. I think the ideas are fine. The ideas are exactly what they probably should do.
I prefer it in season 2 than season 1, because in season 1 it just feels like an origin if you do that.
Yeah. Whereas here, where we're tackling this after the fact, we're getting deeper into the character. And I like Jesse's stuff with Malcolm and the constant "you're fired" jokes.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I liked her little montage of like potential clients and her going after the rival PI. As you pointed out before we started, the guy from The Expanse, Prax. What's his name in this?
Chang, I believe.
Chang. Chang.
Okay.
He tries to absorb her, and he's actually secretly trying to employ her for Hogarth. Hogarth is all big business and lawyery nonsense behind the scenes. But she, like, there's it's a fun scene where she's sort of like surveying them. She's she's across the street, and obviously being Jessica, she's climbing up onto like ridiculous structures that no one else would climb to. And he's just like sits next to the window with a coffee, and, like, gives her a little wave, and she's like, just screw you. But that was good, and I do like the scene where she goes to confront him, and she basically gets angry because he keeps like just pushing her buttons, and she gets so angry that she starts using her super strength to beat the shit out of him and scaring everyone else. Who's like, because it's not like he's on his own little office like she is. He's on a floor with people in other offices, and they're all coming out and being like horrified that this evil woman is beating him up, and is it looks like a proper violent, scary crime. Like when she's walking towards him, it feels a little bit like the Terminator coming towards him.
It does, doesn't it?
I don't think they film it quite enough to really make that point, but that's kind of the vibe I think they're going for.
Yeah.
And I like that realization for her. So I think her character stuff's pretty good. And of course, what I am glossing over here is the Wizard. And I do want to criticise one thing here with the Wizard.
The goofy effect?
No. I like the goofy effect. I'm all for the goofy effect. Okay. when he's in the montage at the start, and he's like, "Oh, I've got super speed, but I only run when I'm scared," and blah 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 blah. They're after me. He's all, he says like it's a conspiracy nut, and he's like, "I'm the wizard." When he leaves, you actually see him leave. You see him go outside and shut the door. And at the time, I thought this would be really funny. If we're never going to see him again, this would be really funny if he just super sped away after he shut the door, right? And I thought that would be really funny. So later on, when he came back and they revealed he actually had super speed, I was angry they didn't do that joke earlier on.
Really?
I was like, no! That would have been so funny if they just dismissed him and he closed the door and just sped off.
No, I get that would have been funny if they'd never brought him back, but because they're bringing him back, that would have ruined the reveal of, because they want us to find out with Jessica, essentially.
What does that achieve? Us finding out with Jessica. Really?
It puts you in her mindset. It puts you with her. That's the point of it. It's the same time as you reveal anything with with any other character. You learn.
No, yeah, that's the normal way to do it. But Jessica's a drunk superhero, so I can't be completely in her shoes. This would not have upset that scene. This would have been the laugh I would have got in there would have outweighed any benefit we got from her finding out at the same time as us.
I just don't agree with that.
Nah, that made me angry because it was a really funny effect as well. The way he just sort of darts across. It wasn't like the Flash. It was like this.
No, it's running but on fast forward.
Yeah. It's this silly effect, and it looked really funny. And all I was like, he's actually got the speed, and you didn't do the joke earlier. God damn you guys! God damn it! I do think they overplayed the moment where, because basically Trish brought over the boxes she had in like her closet of all her family's ashes, like her parents and her brother, like Jessica's.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. At first, I didn't think she was being literal. at first, it's like, it's a family's ashes. I thought she meant, like, oh, okay, here are, the things like belongings, files that she's not interested in because of that she's dug up.
I do have to admit, I think it's kind of weird she kept them that long. I feel like if Jessica didn't want anything to do with them back then, I feel like you would just take it upon yourself to go scatter them somewhere meaningful.
Yeah. Which is why I was like, I didn't assume it was literal ashes.
I have to admit, I do think they overplayed the slow motion, the box of ashes exploding. It was kind of silly and almost a little bit funny.
I can't argue with that.
It's same later on. I don't think it was supposed to be as funny when Jessica tells Malcolm not to step on like her brother. But maybe it's my dark sense of humor. But I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I didn't laugh at that one.
It's my dark sense of humor, but
I
thought that was
think
really
it
funny.
Was, yeah.
But she chases out the wizard. Call him that. Out to the street, and he's panicking, and she's kind of realizing, oh, you're kind of like me. You've got powers, and was it them? Was it the same company?
He makes a point of saying he can't really remember what happened,
which is just like her. And she chases him outside, and he's basically crushed by like scaffolding and work equipment. There's a building's been worked on, and I do think this was also. I feel like the direction, like it's kind of like how I was complaining about the hospital scene. Kind of how I was saying how, there's that scene where Jessica's like the Terminator, but it's just not quite hitting that, in a style. Here, I thought again the filmmaking was a little bit muddy for me, where I felt like, okay, that was obviously not actually an accident, and someone did that because they doesn't just collapse at random, right? That's really weird. But the way it was filmed also didn't actually suggest it wasn't an accident, or it was an accident. You know what I mean? Like there was no. It wasn't until Jessica, after the fact, started to look around. I'm like, okay, now they're trying to communicate to us that this is suspicious.
I think that was the point. I'm going to defend this. I don't think it was ever supposed to look intentional during the moment because it's supposed to look perfectly like an accident.
And that's my problem with it, though, is I immediately go, that's weird. Why would that's just random as shit. That doesn't...
No, it is, which is why they address it immediately after.
Yeah, but that's just what I'm saying, though. If you just shoot this slightly differently and it's clear from the start, you don't have that weird moment of confusion. Because I feel like it just adds this extra thing into the scene as opposed to just feeling sorry for the wizard. Because the emotion afterwards when Jessica's looking down at his body and she's kind of upset and, like, the new neighbour who she ran into earlier is, like, staring at her across the street and, like, hiding his son's eyes. Like, oh, avert your eyes, the vigilante's, at it again. Like, I don't know, it was just a weird bit of filmmaking. I feel like the biggest problem so far I'm having, other than the pace, and this harkens back to the last couple of Netflix shows, is I feel like the direction is really lacking.
I don't think it's as strong as it has been. Like I said, I definitely agree with the moment with the ashes and the moment in the hospital. This one, I don't agree with. I think it is supposed to be a moment of, oh, that's weird, what's going on, even though it looks perfectly like an accident. Like, it looks random.
I think my problem is that I don't go, oh, that's weird, what's going on in context of the show. I go, that's weird, what are they doing when they're writing this? I maybe that's my cynical point of view there, but I jump outside the show and go, hey, what are they doing here? This is weird. That's random as shit.
I think that's you being cynical there, because for me, I think this was intentionally supposed to look perfectly accidental, and even though you're like, oh, that's weird, that's a bit random. Why is that happening? Like, it immediately addresses that afterwards, like you say, with her looking around. Like, so to her as well, this looks perfectly accidental, but like us, okay, there's got to be something more. So she's looking around like we are.
The moment just doesn't jive. I don't know. It just feels wrong, and not in a intentional wrong way. I don't think they get quite the reaction they're hoping for.
Okay. That one played for me, I have to say.
But it didn't click for me, that particular scene. Obviously, there's a bit of other stuff we've glossed over. Trisha's got a new boyfriend who they heavily show in the other scene on the TV. He's like a TV presenter, and our boss is basically in love with him. And then we see later on he's very suave. He's with her.
Has a dark sense of humor.
He's got a dark sense of humor. I do appreciate the dark sense of humor. I'm not sure where they're going with him yet.
No.
Right now, I mean, part of me is worried he's going to turn out to be secretly working with someone. Or
that's the cynic, and I agree. I'm like, please don't be a villain, secretly a villain. Please don't.
Yeah, that would be a really grown, interesting twist if they do that. I also think, although in the dark sense of humor, he's very bland right now.
He is. He's only in like 2 scenes, and he's fine, but there's nothing much to him.
Yeah,
I agree. He's just kind of there right now.
Here's the thing. I think everything that's new feels kind of bland, except the wizard. The wizard's this sparky little, spunky character. It's almost a shame that he's already gone, because he was kind of funny, and he had like a sense of humor to him. And I like what he's doing with Jessica's character, and it makes her go hunting. I like that the building she goes to that gets this medicine delivered. That's how they kind of track this place down. The name has the same acronym as as a secret shady agency.
IGFH.
IGF?
Something like that.
But it was like, I was like, oh, that's a bit on the nose if it is them.
Yeah, bit easy.
But she goes inside, and her final scene is her it's like this abandoned laboratory, and she's like seeing like rooms where there were like cells with beds, and she sees like the lab table, and she makes a quick little flashback of being grabbed by someone who's like been like heavily scarred and burned by the looks of it.
Looking a bit monstrous.
So I mean, I like kind of what the main plot's going to be, seemingly, from what I can tell. But I have to admit, I'm kind of lukewarm in this episode overall. I felt like there was more scenes than there weren't, where I was sitting kind of being, this is dragging its feet.
I don't know. And like I say, maybe give me 3 or 4 episodes, and I'll feel the same, even if it's exactly the same as this. Right now, I'm enjoying catching up with the characters and having the banter again. So, and a lot of the stuff that is arguably pointless in terms of the conversation is kind of just banter between people.
Yeah, but it's not great banter though. Like,
it was enjoyable enough for me.
The shows I love with good dialogue, like the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, all right.
But that's witty banter that is typically always pushing things forward. Like, it's always got a
I wouldn't say this banter's always witty in that sense, but I was enjoying it here. But maybe that's because I haven't had some of these characters interacting in 2.5 years.
I don't know. I've got a feeling in a few episodes' time you might be just sliding into negativity with me.
I agree. I think it's very popular.
I feel like it's happening. And I feel like, and if it feels like I'm being overly cynical, this cynicism is founded by Punisher, it's founded by Iron Fist, it's founded by Defenders, second half of Luke Cage. Because that's the thing. Like, I think when we think of Daredevil, right, season 1 and 2, we think of pretty good direction because we think of those one-shot fights. We think, oh, those were really fancy fight scenes, and they do different things. And here, though, I'm thinking of these last few shows, and there's nothing like that. Like Defenders was a really blandly shot show.
It was. It did some nice things with the colours in the first half,
and then they forgot about that.
Yeah. Honestly, first half of Defenders is all right.
Well, it was okay because they hadn't got to all the stuff that was disappointing yet. Like, once they actually started doing the actual plot of what the villain was going to do, it got really downhill very quickly.
It did.
When it was just about the characters meeting for the first time, it was kind of exciting up until that point. Then once we get past that, it just went into bland territory.
And then it got like an episode or 2 of, just, okay, you're doing setup, so we'll let you see what you build into.
And the build-up was really
to nothing.
Weak. Yeah, there was a nothing thing.
There was no payoff worth it.
No, there was not.
And that's my problem with this episode is in general like most of what they're setting up. I like Cheng well enough. I think he's got a nice presence to him. I like the idea of what's going on with Hogarth, not the personal life stuff, but the stuff to do with Jessica. I like the stuff that Trish is setting up, inherently. However, I will admit there's a strong chance, given the track record, that this will not pay off in any meaningful way that I will enjoy, and there is a good chance that halfway through this, I will be bored. I'm not going to argue that because it's likely.
Well, we're going to find out soon enough, folks. We'll be back tomorrow with episode 2, so you can look forward to that. I mean, again, I like this is a scene that I liked. Again, I liked all the main things about the scene I liked. I just thought it went on far too long. Was the scene where they're on the roof and there's this guy's doing illegal film projection onto a wall, and they even crack a joke. Oh, I thought he'd be shut down by now. Nope, first Friday every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll put something up, and so Jessica's up there with a pizza and her beer. Also, I feel like it shows what sort of point in my life I'm getting at when I see her down 10 Red Bulls in a row, and my only real thought is, oh geez, that's bad for her heart.
No, I will say I laughed at the start where it was clearly a Red Bull, and they showed it at first, and then they did the close up, but they kind of kept the logo just off.
Oh yeah, I don't think they ever showed the. You could see the blue and the silver, so you knew it was a Red Bull. It was obviously that's what it was.
They showed the L at the end as well, just enough that you could see that part, because I was really noticing it.
But enough that legally,
that is not product placement. This isn't Red Bull. It was really bothering me just how obvious it was they were hiding it.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a case of did someone just forget to get permission before they shot it, so they just had to play it safe just in case they couldn't get it later.
This is one of where usually I'm not, I'm wrong. I will not generally support product placement, but it felt realistic to just I'll put the can down, I'll see the logo probably.
Yeah. Here's the thing, I think they have to make it clear that it's Red Bull because she's drinking the bigger cans, and the bigger cans are the same size as a beer can. And because she's an alcoholic, we have to actually make the distinction that this is a Red Bull and not beer.
Right. But because they weren't showing it as outright, I have to work that out myself by going, okay, those colours are Red Bull. Because
Malcolm comes in and says, here, chug this. And I'm thinking, because as an alcoholic, that would get her up and running, I suppose.
I agree, because the first moment I couldn't see the blue because of where he's holding it. And I was going, okay, that's either a Red Bull or he's going hair of the dog, going, all right, just get one in you and you can get functioning. A perfectly valid tactic, I suppose, if you're doing it once every so often to get into work, not if you're an actual alcoholic, obviously.
And it was funny as well when she's in the montage and someone's finishing their story and it cuts to the next person and Malcolm just walks into frame and puts down another can.
I think it's the moment where the wizard's starting to say about his speed. He slams down the next can.
Yeah. So here's another one. There you go.
Yeah, it's oh, you're gonna need it.
Oh dear. So fun touches. I just wish there was more of them, and I wish the episode was about 15 minutes shorter.
No, fair enough.
And I wish there was 3 less episodes overall. I'll tell you right now.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. Right now I know 13's too many. It should be 10.
I don't need to see any more to know that 13's too many. Yeah. It always has been.
Yeah. Here's hoping that it perks up. Here's the bad problem though, is that I've heard that Punisher did, although we never got that far. But every other Marvel Netflix show has gotten worse in the second half, not better.
Yep.
So that's the concern.
And there's a concern. Something I always bring up as well is it's okay. Say it gets really good at the last 2 or 3 episodes.
But is that worth it?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It happened to me with Game of Thrones. One season I dropped it, and people went, "Yeah, but this episode's amazing." It was episode 8 or 9. I'm like, I got there. I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a great episode." But I sat through 6 before that. I was kind of bored to shit of. So was it really worth it? Probably not.
No. Yeah, so for now, of course, we are going to be working our way through the rest of this. Obviously, if we're pulling our hair out by episode 6, maybe we'll reconsider. But the plan right now is to keep reviewing, and we'll be back with episode 2 tomorrow. It'll be done Saturday because we're busy on Saturdays, and then back to work sometime late Sunday with the third one. But that's the plan right now. So, Let us know what you thought of the first one in the comments. Are you hopeful? Did you like it? Are you seeing these same issues of the other shows kind of starting to creep through? Because I kind of am at this point. Despite the fact that I like certain things, I can see the other things. Like, you know, I wonder if it's like just after like Daredevil season 2, they just started slashing the budget for all of them, and it feels like they're intentionally. It's like they're spending a lot of money to shoot on New York, like in location on New York. They're spending a lot of money on that, but it's not leaving much for anything else.
No, that's true. I will say, I think it's really telling that we got the date for Luke Cage like yesterday, the day before, and I went, okay then.
I only saw it today. What's interesting though is it's in June, which means there's going to be 3 again this year total.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny because the movies and the Netflix shows both went to 3 a year the same year last year.
It's just a good point.
That's just kind of funny to me. So expect Luke Cage season 2 by the end of the year probably.
Is that the next one?
I think so, because they're already shooting it.
Did you say Luke Cage is the one coming in June?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Did I say Luke Cage again?
Yeah, you said.
Oh,
Luke
I meant
Cage
Iron Fist. I meant Iron Fist by the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking Iron Fist in November. That's my guess.
Ugh, do we have to? 2.5 years for this.
Oh, actually, no. Daredevil season 3 could.
It could, but it depends how they want. You know, I know this before. It depends how they want to play it, given the ending of Defenders.
Could go either way. They could put Iron Fist in, having the Daredevil be the big March one again next year. Because Daredevil's always been a bit Marchish, Aprilish.
It has, but I'm just annoyed. 2.5 years for Jessica Jones, and then Iron Fist.
Luke Cage first, then Iron Fist.
Yeah, but I don't care if Iron Fist is this year. I'm angry because it's too soon.
Yeah, it's a year and a half for Iron Fist. That does suck.
That's not fair.
That has been our review of episode 1 of Jessica Jones season 2. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments. Not the review. I mean, you can let us know what you thought of the review, but I mean the episode. What did you think of the first episode of Jessica Jones season 2 in the comments? Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description, but otherwise that is it. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla? I paused there because that came from Iron Fist. And I was the connection. We're actually mentioning Iron Fist in this episode. But yes, vanilla, Gary, the legend. Was it? No, it wasn't Gary. Gary's Legends of Tomorrow. What was the guy's name?
I want to say Kevin.
Kevin. I think it was Kevin. Kevin wanted vanilla.
So that little prick wanted vanilla.
That hero wanted vanilla.
Arguably.